done Deming and Clovis, Hobbs, Carlsbad. So we've gone around quite a bit around the state to figure out what people believe is and isn't working in the cannabis industry here in New Mexico. And so after that, we are able to present this data to our policymakers and the CCD and the New Mexico Cannabis Chamber, and they're able to get a feel of what it is the public wants. So, a little format. First, we start off with the pros, so we get a little bit positive before we get into the negatives, and after that, we name the cons. And we do ask that whenever you go and make your statement or you give your opinion, to try to limit it to 3 minutes. And this is just in case you all do decide to join us at the legislative session coming up next month. You can be a bit more aware of how that format runs as well, since they do kind of comments. Okay? And so, yes, with that, Juicy, do you have anything to say?
If there are any lobbyists, we do ask that you make it known that you are present, just so that everybody is aware that we have any lobbyists in there. No lobbyists? Lobbyists? Yes. Yeah. No? No? Okay, we're good.
There we go.
Yay!
Awesome.
Cool. And we'll check online so everybody can hear it on the stream. Go, ladies.
Thank you. Did we do introductions already? Yeah. Okay. Just want to make sure we're on the same page.
But we do all introductions.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, we're just going to let you guys introduce yourselves really quickly and who you're here representing, if you'd like. Who would like to go first? We love a volunteer.
My name is Liz. I'm from Las Cruces with Don.
I'm Josh, and I'm with Public Care.
I'm Ceci, and I'm with Cannabis Flushes.
My name is Colt, and I'm with Astro Buds.
I'm Wilson with Dark Matter.
Hi, my name is Bianca Isma, but I also go by DJ, and I'm here with Cannabis.
Yay!
I'm Spencer, and I'm with Dark Matter.
I'm Kelly Frederick, and I was most recently the Director of Culture at Fatnuts Magazine, but I'm new. I've just moved back to Cruces, and I'm working with brands and establishing a sales territory in the Southwest.
Hi, good evening. I'm Charlene, and I'm here for myself. And
My name is Isaiah. I'm with Jeff.
Hi, my name is Chelsea, and I'm here at Land Mansion Farms, our commercial facility in Garcia.
My name is Ryan with Buddy Stuff.
Hi, my name is Danielle, and I'm with Apogee Therapeutics.
Yeah, my name is Shahid. Was with Davis Valley Production, and now with Apogee.
And so we do in part of that, maybe a group share excuses.
Yeah! Awesome, thank you so much, guys.
Okay. Oh, did everybody already sign up in the sign-up sheet? Okay, so it will be here, and there's also a QR code that y'all could scan, but if not, we'll have that at the end where you guys can go ahead and do that. So,
All right, so who would like to start with the first pro?
sorry, I don't know, sorry, I was doing things dead at you.
We've got some examples here for you guys you can check out, so give you some ideas. I know it's hard at first to do the pros and breaking the ice. So this is from the Cruces one from last year, 2023. At the time it said not overrun by MSOs, responsiveness from the CCD. I don't know if that's changed or not. accessibility for micro licenses, variety of product, ability to enter the market, so it's an easier entry. New Mexico Pride is one. Job creation, opportunity to create a good medicine. I mean, if there's anything you guys can think of just off the list or top of the head, let us know. I mean, really what this portion is if there's something that's really working that you like, that you'd like to stay, like to keep going in the industry, to keep with the program, mention that too, because if you don't, they might try to change it because, well, no one said anything about it, so we're going to change it. So if it's something simple like, I like the price of licensing, or I like the fact that we can carry this much cannabis, or, anything really that you like in the industry, anything. Thank you for showing up.
I like how easy our medical program is to integrate with other medical cards.
There we go.
Customers coming over from Texas.
Yeah.
It's like a 5-10 minute process to be able to get them. It's not cyclical. I can't remember the exact term, but just to be able to sign them up and have them be in New Mexico medication, I think, really shows like their commitment for it. Do I have to keep talking?
Just pass it to the next person.
Yeah, the reciprocal program is great.
Reciprocal, thank you. Yeah. I just think it really shows like the New Mexico cannabis industry is more about like people coming in to see us rather than like what we've seen in Oregon and other states where it's locked behind a lot of paywalls, whether it be like going to a provider, going to a doctor, having a specific issue and having that documented. It's a lot easier to like go into Texas and get that med card and then come see us without having to do all this middleman work. And I think that's a definite pro.
Perfect. Yeah, the record process. I agree, because when I went to go back and visit Hawaii, it was a pain in the ass just to do their process for the record process. I mean, I could do it, but I had to pay $50, and then I had to like sign up like 2-3 weeks before, and I had to wait for that approval, and I had to carry around a piece of paper, and here they do the paper thing, but it was kind of a pain in the ass. So yeah, I agree. The way that we went about it was a lot more tolerable way than most other states. Anyone else? No pros, huh? It all sucks.
Another one that a lot of people have mentioned is, and I think this is a perfect example with how many backgrounds of companies there are here, it's the fact that it's created so many jobs. So I'm from El Paso, and a lot of us are from El Paso, so we can agree on the fact that it's given us Texans a chance to get familiar with the industry and how it works and all that. So that's been a common pro as well, but I think it stands a little bit more special here.
I feel like it has, yes, definitely on the opportunities of developing careers for individuals, who want to either are new to the industry or have been in the industry some way, somehow in cannabis. Also from a customer and client standpoint of view as a patient, working in retail and manufacturing, I have seen so many people benefit from this plant in a healthy manner, like where they use it as an alternate for pain medication. There was a gentleman that walked in to the dispensary the other day, and he was sharing with us that he had 3 months to live. And, marijuana was like one of the only things that was supporting him. And he was in his work truck, pulling up just to find a little bit of alleviation of, hey, you were just told you got 3 months to live, right? And man, there's so many stories. There's another gentleman that comes in with his wife has cancer, and they're both in their 70s. Like, this gentleman takes his wife every single week to get her medicine. And it is because it is so resourceful and it's accessible to us. It's accessible to so many people. And because of limited beliefs and because of limited education and resources now that, we should even have people giving rights or develop a program for the elderly or for people who are sick with cancer that it can benefit from this plant, right? Like, it's just, there's so many possibilities here in the state that can still develop. It is such a new industry, and it's powerful. It's a powerful plant for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pass it to Colt. Colt, go ahead.
I think on the pro side, I mean, besides the jobs that it's created, is New Mexico's taking a different look at it and not arresting people. I've been in the industry since the medical days, and even at that time, it was, there were still issues around New Mexico where people were still going to jail. And that's changed. That's my fight has been, I've been an advocate and fighting for about 14 years now, and my fight's always been to keep people out of jail and to get medical patients safe access. And New Mexico's found a way to do that. There are a limited number of qualifying conditions for the New Mexico program. I think we're at 28 or 32 or something like that now.
Yeah, I think you just added 2.
It still excludes people, but with legalization, it gives the people that are excluded the ability to access the medicine that they so choose. So that's another pro for the opening to legalization.
Cool. Thank you. Go ahead. Oh, you got someone over there actually. You got saved by the bell.
Sorry.
Oh, you're loud enough. Hell yeah.
This is my wife, Tanya Rodriguez. We're with Diamond Cannabis Company. We're a brand new company, combat veteran owned.
Cool.
So I was just trying to bring myself up to speed, and I'm hearing, I guess, pros about the industry. So our angle in this is we're here because cannabis is a medicine. I use it, I consume it. My wife has stage 4 breast cancer. We use it, and it literally has changed our lives, saved our lives, brought opportunity. So the pro for me is opportunity. Opportunity in the industry to not only, of course, maybe possibly generate some generational wealth, but to grow as a man, to try and kill, well, I was about to say that word, but to kill cancer. And I see so many avenues to all of us right here and everyone else that's out there that believes in the plant as a medicine. Personally, as a combat veteran, before I retired in 2021, I was drinking every weekend, 2 bottles a weekend. I was on 9 prescriptions, retired, didn't know what I was going to do. My neighbor, which is Shane from Astro Buds, gave me some medicine, some Gary P, day after my retirement, and I had my ice chest full of liquor, ready to go, and set my mind, because I used to have a lot of suicidal ideations. Anyway, it changed my life, opened my mind, my whole world perspective changed. And so I would love to try and collaborate on some type of education fair, right? So we got to get to the community. We got to hit the medicinal part. I would like, through my wife and everyone else, to collaborate to try and bring the medicinal back. I'm not trying to order or direct anybody, but medicine, humanity needs medicine. I feel cannabis will save humanity. If it could save a man like me for where I was going, it could do wonders for everyone out there. We just gotta get it out there. Like, I'm a newbie, I'm a cherry in this. We had a sun grow up in Alto, we had the fires, and it was like, oh my goodness, I learned so much. It was me and my cultivator out there. So I'm in this for life, So whatever I can do, whatever we can do, I'm all for it, for any type of medicine, education. So appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And real quick, thanks for your service, Battle.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Cool.
The pro that I see in what I do, because I'm not affiliated with any type of dispensary. I support everybody. I'm part of this community, and I love how it's changed, and we are able to come from Texas. So I love how we're able to have not only access to medicine, but also the events that you guys host. I love that. I help share the word. One of the things that I do love are consumption lodges. I wish there was one in Sunland Park, just saying, guys. But hopefully. But yeah, I really just try to bring people from El Paso to be like, hey guys, yeah, if New Mexico could do it, we can too. And we don't have to be in the closet anymore, the green closet, so to say, right? And yeah, we get to meet up, we get to enjoy our time, and yeah, just change. Just industry, I guess.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Fran. Thank you for sharing your stuff too. We appreciate that. Thank you.
I like the microphone. It's like the talking stick.
Well, I would say a pro is, coming from Texas, is just being able to go across the state and have a job, job opportunity. I know, sorry, I get nervous when there's
Take your time, brother.
But, so yeah, just job opportunities. So the opportunities for mom and pop shops to be open, people that are brand new to the industry, and just being able to spread the message. Right? I think that's one of the best positive things. These town halls you guys are doing, it's one of the best things I think of, is just spreading the message, spreading the knowledge.
Thank you.
And some other things to think about too is like, do you like drive-throughs? The consumption lounge thing. Do you want to see more of that? Do you want to see that expanded? Is that a pro? That's a huge pro in my opinion. We should be allowed those kind of things. So think of things like that. Like something you really like and you want to stay, or maybe you like it and you want it to be improved. Like I love this and I want it to be more of a thing we do here. So keep that in mind too. These are all great though. So thank you.
I might be a little bit behind, but our drive-throughs still in danger right now.
They're always in danger.
I mean, if they can have drive-through liquor bar,
Right?
right?
Which seems so much more dangerous.
Right,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
The farmers have restricted drive-throughs window, it's the same concept. You really need it, and if there's a drive-through window, you're the rest of the
See, to me, this plant has been a plant for thousands of years. We have 100 years of negative propaganda, and that's what we have to overcome. There's the last 100 years of negative propaganda. But it's a plant, it's a weed. It grows like a weed. We're not regulating lavender, we're not regulating sage. Why this plant? Because people think they can make money and they think it's easy money. It's not easy money.
No.
Anybody that's grown it is going to tell you.
I'd rather do push-ups all day.
Anyone?
Oh, sorry.
Take ice from me, please.
So I come from a different part of this industry. I come from kind of the great side of the marketing side. I work for a radio station opportunity, so we see different aspects of the marketing side of you guys. How do we do with and how do we say, really synonymize what it is in this industry? It really is a lifestyle. It is something that I see from each other in dispensary or town, especially mom and pop ones. We're going to get that understanding education aspect that it's really growing that ability to show it. It's a lifestyle here that's part of what we do. It's like, I don't want to go in and do it after work. I want to go hang out with my friends and chill. So having that ability to see different faces and different businesses and different aspects that work together are really crucial to seeing like the success in this region. Not just in Southern Park, crucial. Softly is going to be an extra market where you are at least seeing that push to make it into that synonymous way. I'm going to be part of this, I'm going to grow with this, I'm going to win with this. But I appreciate it for myself because I haven't taken a painkiller in 10 years ago.
Yeah. There you go. And real quick, everybody, if you guys could speak more directly in the mic. We are using this so the people in the streams could actually hear you guys. So it's not for us, it's for them. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to just reiterate on the possibilities that this industry has given me. I was in a hospital setting surgery for like 8 years, just trying to work my way up, trying to run my own department, and being promised that I would, and all these promises I would, not next year, and it just didn't happen. And just getting into this industry gave me the opportunity. I was able to climb up real quick, and I'm very fortunate right now to be a part of something big that's going on over with us at Apogee. And just, like I said, the possibilities and being in this border town, for sure, being able to educate properly El Pasoans and people coming from Juarez, it's just a whole different ballgame, being able to properly educate them and tell them the different ways to consume and medicate and things of that nature. And it should be as acceptable for a mom to say, Mama needs a joint just like Mama needs a glass of wine. So I'm with ending that stigma for sure, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. There we go, Chelsea, yes.
I would say a big pro for me is the consumption lounges. I think it's a really awesome alternative to going to the bar. I would love to see more cannabis-friendly events or cannabis-friendly events in public, that are regulated, but to be able to consume in public is a nice way to all enjoy it together.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again here, is, with the advancements of drinking, cannabis drinks and, nano-emulsification and all that stuff, I see drinks being more common for these kind of places too. It's less offensive, no one can get mad at you, it's more concealing, and no one can say, my kid stinks. So, I think that's something that we can really push in the future too. Even though I feel that we should be able to smoke, if somebody can vape in front of their kid, whatever, we're outside, whatever, so.
Yeah, or at least like designated areas.
Yeah.
Maybe not like, okay, the whole venue, but
Yeah.
with some bigger like event production or concerts, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice for those kind of places to be able to have a lounge.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah, we need to expand that.
So I want to second the lounge thing. I'm here for myself. I do have chronic pain, but mainly I'm here because my brother and my dad are, I care for them, and they're both going through something really hard. And I think that I would like to see a consumption lounge for medical patients where, yes, loud music and partying and all that is a great thing for the rest of the community, but sometimes my brother, he doesn't want to be home. He wants to be out, but he can't walk. So like having to put him in the car and then having to ask him to get down to the dispensary to show his ID and then get back in the car and then drive back, it's exhausting. I think if he could go get down, consume, enjoy his time, and then get back in the car when he's ready and go home, I don't see what's wrong with that. And I think that a lot of other patients might also, benefit from that. I have really big anxiety with crowded places. It's scary as fuck, but I think I'm not the only one. So I don't want to go to the club. I don't want to, doom. I don't want to do that in public. I just want to chill. So I think maybe like a medical location where it's a little bit calmer, it's more soothing, it's more just open for and welcoming, Okay.
Thank you.
I got a question about that. So is there anywhere is there like a park that can be designated where we like places that we can kick back and medicate or, use whatever, how we use cannabis? Like, is there something that could be done? Like where a park or something?
So the law dictates where a designated smoking area can be. It's just the CCD is interpreting it a different way than most of us are. So they're saying none whatsoever outside of consumption lounge, but the law kind of saying different. That's going to take a lawsuit or a law change to really clarify that. Because I do think that's something that we're going to have to do in the legislature is clarify this whole consumption thing because it's kind of bullshit. Like we're getting told we can't smoke outside. It's like, okay. And you can't smoke here, okay? So I can just smoke in my living room? You want me back in the basement? We just got out. We want to socialize, we want to go out and hang out with friends, and I just don't want to be around drunk people, and anyone who still drinks, no offense, but, I don't want to be, sorry. And a lot of us in this room, agree, that we would rather be around, just cannabis use whatsoever. So, yeah, it's something that is near and dear to my heart. I was on SM 105 during the medical days. So consumption lounges are my baby. I worked on them directly. And initially they were for medical patients, and they were a place for you to go to use your cannabis, store it, and then go home. And it was meant for anybody and everybody and anywhere and everywhere. I wanted them a mile from a base for the spouses. I wanted them right next to government housing. I wanted them right next to the reservation. I wanted them, close to a university where the students there, they can't use on campus so they can go somewhere safe, just across the street maybe. just a walk distance away. They do it to get drunk, so, what's so wrong about going across the street? So that was the idea of them. And the fact that you brought up, the patient part of it, and I think the patient gets forgotten a lot these days. We owe a lot to the patient because they trailblazed all of this for us. And even before my time, they were. And so we owe it to them. And, that's one thing that we have to do is really protect the patient. So I really appreciate y'all really keeping the patient in mind and everything too, because that's so awesome to hear. We don't hear that, as often as I think we should. Sorry, didn't mean to go off on a tangent.
I kind of wanted to touch base on drive-thrus, just to fall back on that. Going about medical patients and such. That law passed by one vote, guys. Just as a reminder of how close that could have been a no entirely. There's people out there, just like my friend here, who spoke about her brother who gets out, and it takes a toll on patients sometimes, especially when they're going through dialysis or whatever it may be, and so it's really important that we stay a part of this and go and speak at the legislative. Yes.
I have a question. That's fine. So you say come and speak at the legislative. How do we get there? How does that do? We party bus it? Do we?
I would love a party bus up there. Yeah. 420 bus all the way up.
No, but honestly, so I know you guys attended last year, but for us, I guess it'll be our first time. Can you tell us a little bit more about how we go about doing that?
Yeah, so there's a few ways that you can either attend the legislative sessions or you can participate. Usually they have an online thing, and I usually leave the links. So during the legislative session, I'm going to be posting a lot of links, and there's going to be a lot of times where it's a Tuesday morning, 11 a.m., and I'm shouting at you guys to hurry up and go online because they have a committee hearing, and they happen like this. And sometimes votes happen like that too, so you have to catch it. And a lot of the times they'll have a portion of it where you can do public comment, and then if you're not there, usually a lot of the times there's like a Zoom, and so they'll allow the public comment to be there. I always recommend going in person. It's always a lot better. The last time I went through the drive-through thing, I just so happened to be there when they introduced the amendment into that bill to get rid of drive-thrus, and I got thrown in my face. Ben was there from the chamber. It was funny, and him and another guy, they both look at me because they said, "Yeah, does anyone want to speak on it?" And they looked straight at me, and I was like, "Oh shit, I didn't prepare anything." And so I just get up, and the first thing I said was, we don't have a medical alcohol program. We have a medical cannabis program. And that's the people that would really be, hurt if we did this. And so luckily the whole thing went whatever. We ended up saving drive-thrus, but they can happen at a dime, turn of a dime. So I just want to let you guys know that first. Second, when it comes to being at the legislature and going, you can go whenever you want. It's your house. You guys essentially own the building. It is a government open building. We can go essentially whenever, but during the session, I essentially would go. I mean, you can go, the weekends or any time, but, like, I'm thinking at the time of the legislature, I wouldn't go, like, the first 2 weeks, because nothing really happens. I wouldn't go until we start seeing bills start moving in, and then all of that. Then we can start planning on, like, maybe, I don't know, maybe a day to go up there. They used to have Cannabis Day up there, like, for the legislative thing, and that would be a perfect day, because all the legislators there know what's going on. But we're still probably going to have to go up randomly, because it's a drive-through thing. It's probably going to be attacked again this next session, I can guarantee you. So it's going to take more voices than just 3 or 4 of us to really ensure that these are solidified. And stories like yourself with your brother and everything, I mean, that would help out a lot at the legislature, because they will understand more. Because I got told by one of the legislators, like, oh well, they have the ADA compliant ramps, so they can just use that. And I'm like, not everybody can use that, and that's not feasible for everybody. It is. It's very exhausting. Like, even I had a hard time as a kid riding a bike up those sometimes. So, like, I can only imagine someone, pushing with their arms. So, yeah, when it comes to the legislature, I'll try to help you guys as much as I can. If you ever have questions or anything, too. And if you do plan to go to the legislature, please send me a message. If I happen to be there, I'll show you around and, show you the ropes. Just be ready to do some running, because I do run after our legislators if I see them. So, bring your running shoes. Because, this stuff moves really quick. I mean, Colt, he goes to his in Austin sometimes. He can probably help you as well. He knows a lot of legislative stuff, too. The ladies here, they know a lot of things, too, when it comes to legislative stuff. The battlefield hasn't happened yet for them, but it's coming soon. We got to go up there. So, did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
It did.
Okay.
But second to that, if we are online, does our voice count? If we were to type in comments, would they reflect there or no?
No, they don't. The comments don't reflect to personal one, unless you have like a disability where you can't talk or speak or whatever. Then that would probably be different. Yeah, and then usually I think beforehand, before the committee hearing, you need to let them know that that's your case, so that way they're aware.
It is better to be in person.
Yes, in person is always better. You can call, like if there's a bill, say there's a bill and the legislator, it's like, oh, this is going to fix the taxes, and you want to support it. You call your legislator's office, and they're going to have a secretary there, and the secretary has to take your message. So you don't have to talk to the legislator directly, but you can leave a message. And once you leave a message, let them know, hey, this is so-and-so from this district, this is my, my representative. I want him to represent or to support this bill because of such, whatever, and they have to take that message. You can do it with bill as well. You can write. I don't recommend writing, but if you do all three, they do for sure get it. Email, write, call, but in person, always the best. Cool. Anyone else? Sorry, that was a long answer. I know. Awesome.
Well, I think we're ready to move on to cons unless anybody else has any other pros.
It's okay, guys. The pros is always the shortest list. Don't
Yeah, we only have one where it's like longer than the cons.
It's always the pros. But going on to the cons, we do. I feel like I speak loud, but going on to the cons, moving on, we've had, as examples, just going to throw it out there, we've had a lot of people in different cities mention BioTrack being an issue. I'm just going to go throw that out there. Is there anybody else that would like to add to the cons list?
I saw everybody just get punched in the gut right now.
Literally. Yes.
Bio-tracking, I can tell you the information that Big Brother has on every single dispensary customer is frightening. I mean, I thought I was paranoid until I learned more, and now I'm like, I'm not paranoid enough. It's frightening, the information that is being collected. It's an invasion of privacy. It's a violation of human rights, in my opinion. Our information being sold to phishing scams that are signing people up for fraudulent healthcare enrollment right now, and still won't cover cannabis. Like, yeah, we'll give you fentanyl for a headache. It might kill you. Cannabis has never, ever killed anyone, ever. So, yeah, that's just my opinion.
That is a scary thought to think, like, what if BioTrack could get hacked into and then all the information is out there?
Yeah, the information that's collected about you on data points, there's millions of data points, and it's been going on for years and years. I mean,
I was an intel collector in the Army. I totally get it, yeah. Huh?
I can't.
Oh, so I was an intel collector in the Army. I totally get it. So I know where you're coming from. Yeah. So, it's a real scary thing because it's not more or less of if they will get hacked, it's when, especially these days. When will they get hacked? When will they have that data breach? And then next thing you know, you see that commercial on TV. It's like, hey, you may be compensated for some money if you were a part of this. So that's
the only people that make money off that are lawyers.
Oh, yeah, they make a killing off that.
Not the people.
Yeah.
And the whole point is for us to have access to safe plant medicine.
Yeah.
Geographic location shouldn't matter.
No, I agree. Yeah, you should just be able to have that access. So, there you go. That's a good one. Thank you. Anyone else? Cons? I know you guys got a load of them.
I feel like I'm new. I shouldn't be
I think the New Mexico purchasing limits are a little bit wonky.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to edibles. Like, I'm the type of person that I'm extremely allergic to certain terpenes. I think I'm one of the few people that could probably die from cannabis because I've been hospitalized before for taking dabs with too high and tiny and things like that. My chest starts to close up.
Really?
So, I mean, dabs is also a very intense form of cannabis. I've never had a reaction like that from smoking a joint. But, for edibles, it's such a low milligram dosage for a recreational customer per day. To me, that is one of the most medicinal and beneficial products, especially for people that are first switching over into cannabis as a medicinal replacement. And so to have it, be limited so low, it doesn't make sense, especially when you could buy 16 grams of dabs or 2 ounces of flour. You can buy so much of everything else except for the one thing that is the best gateway for people to get rid of opioids. And there may be somebody's agenda in keeping that number low so that we still have a bunch of fentanyl in the streets. But I think it limits the medicinal products like RSO. It limits a lot of these products that we need to see even further development in. And they don't get it because there's not enough money for people to buy a backstop. They're constantly having to come in, and the prices for those products are always exorbitant.
Yeah.
They're way too high.
The topicals is another one too. That is super limited for recreational customers.
When the government first started doing medical trials, the government's own standard was 10 joints a day. 300 joints a month is what they were sending to medical patients. So if that was the government's own standard to begin with, why, and it's not legal without home grow. Once people start learning that they can grow this at home, like a freaking window or garden, the middlemen are going to be cut out. And all the MSOs that have purchased so much real estate that the dispensaries are sitting empty. Like, people are going to go to the people that know about the plant, in my opinion. You just have to look at history and see what's happened. This is like the gold rush after, they repealed prohibition and repealed alcohol prohibition. That's what's going on right now.
No, it's still new. Nationwide and internationally.
But the government's own standard was 10 joints a day.
Yeah.
Still is. They still send them for 2 people.
So that's what, it shouldn't be a limit.
No, I've always been an advocate of looser limits, especially like the adequate supply on the medical side. It's a 90 rolling days, and that's something that's always kind of baffled me, is like, why 90? Hawaii has it in like 2 weeks. It's like a 4-ounce thing in 2 weeks. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. But I figured, I actually told him, I was like, give them more, but 2 weeks is great. I don't even see why we couldn't do 30 days here, for a rolling thing like that. The only reason why they keep the adequate supply thing in New Mexico is because if it does go Schedule 3, it's essentially like just handing them the books and we're good to go, because we have a limit, we have an expiration, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's the reason why they keep it. But for recreation, I don't see why, it's so low for that when, you can just go buy those other things and you're getting equal amounts, way more than what you would the other way. And it's still confusing, what the hell's a unit kind of thing,
and it's really nonsensical, because if we're allowed to sell RSO, what concentrates, but then, it's an edible product, and you don't smoke that.
No, fuck no.
Why are we crisscrossing the categories for a product that is an edible? We're calling it something different, and then limiting, the products that, personally,
make it make
way
sense.
Better. The kind of thing that I, make sure my grandma has so that she can go to bed. I'm not going to give her a tube of RSO because I don't want to see her again. Exactly.
No, that's a great point, and that's something that, that's actually one of the first times we've heard this, and it's a great point, and I'm glad you brought it up, because that is like, why the hell do we do that? And I think the fear around that was also, oh my God, there were so many issues before in other states with edibles, people going to the hospital for whatever reason or something, and I think that's the reason why, and I think now is the time that we can change that, because it's like, guys, it's not what you think it is. Yeah, if you guys follow El Paso Fit Fam, there's people on there like every day drunk driving, it's a little ridiculous. I'm always fearful of everyone's life driving in El Paso. It's a little crazy right now. So no, I agree with you. How many people get hospitalized for other things versus cannabis? So Yeah, that and heroin, things that can kill you going cold turkey. So, yeah.
From opioids. Like everybody's like, there's something wrong with me, I'm a drug addict. No, it's the opioids, it's not you.
Yeah.
One of the few things I've ever been able to help people with is giving them RSO to help them get off like heroin. Or to help with their withdrawal symptoms. You know?
And minimal effective dose.
Yeah. Look at those receptors so they're not shaking.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Any more cons? Like, oh, that is a huge con.
Border Patrol, checkpoints, there should be processes, there should be ways of verifying for them to see what's being transported. Like, there's gotta be a system that has to be created for Border Patrol and cannabis, where, we have, what is it, Monarch, right, who's one of the transportation companies, and dude, they do an amazing job. But it is so scary to get your products seized. So now it's like limiting medication to the customer and distribution is so hard for manufacturing and people who grow too, right? And for certain facilities to get RSO over there in another location where they can't cross it, well, because they're scared to go through these checkpoints and get seized.
Yeah.
Right, and so if there's a way for government to create a system for Border Patrol and transportation where they can see, hey, show me this paperwork. Who is the person driving? We have the registered vehicle. We have the license plate, and it matches here in the computer, and it matches their paperwork. This is how much they're transporting. Fuck it, give them a weight system too, so they can weigh it out. There's gotta be systems for this because it is so terrifying for everybody here.
It is, and we talked to the Cruces City Council about this earlier this year, and one of the ideas that I threw out was having a local PD there, because that's who they call anyway, usually with stuff like this, on the smaller scale. If you had the local PD there, they wouldn't be messing with it at all, and then they wouldn't be breaking the federal law, because the federal law is a total different game. So the issue with that was told to us that they're afraid that the people who aren't here legally will, be even more afraid or something like that, and even more police intervention kind of stuff. So that's the reason why they don't want to do that. We could also do a memorandum of understanding between us and the federal government, and I think that would be our best route, but nothing is really moved in that sense from it, especially with the federal government and our federal representation or federal representatives. But we're kind of tied until federal laws change, or unless something changes on Department of Homeland Security side. Unless there's a memorandum or something like that written, we're kind of stuck where we are. And this is the shittiest part, is we can't do anything about it. Now what we could do is we can get into a little fuck game war with the federal government, where Department of Transportation of New Mexico can shut down the checks. Like, say if a cone's knocked over and it's jeopardizing safety, or say it's backed up too long, they can actually shut the check down because they're breaking the law, the state law. And so that's one way we can go about it, but then you start getting the pissing match with the federal government, and things don't always go well that way. Who knows, that might be the better route too, I don't know, but I just know that we're in for an interesting ride the next few years with this, so hopefully something changes, yeah.
I think at this point, it's up to the federal government. That's the conversation that I've been aware of, that we just have to wait on them, because at this point it's like a homeland security issue. A couple of us went up to Las Cruces, and we were able to make a public comment to the counselors there on the issue that's going on Maui and Indian. And it was a supportive response, but at the same time, they were like, well, welcome to what we've all been facing for generations. But I think it's interesting to say that to us who live down here, who are aware that this has been a problem for generations. Cannabis or no cannabis involved, skin color involved at this point, and now we have to worry on top of that what we work in. Hopefully we don't get stopped. What if they, just all these questions went into your mind. So it sucks to know that your safety and your peace is at risk when you're simply checking these or passing these checkpoints, even if you're not carrying, or even if you are carrying completely legal manifests and products, but yet they'll go ahead and seize the vehicle that you're carrying the product in, or they'll seize the pounds of product that, how we have said, patients are relying on. So it's definitely a bit disheartening to know that the states cannot do anything, and we have to at this point rely on federal government. But I hope that New Mexico is really able to pull through and do something about it and protect our industry.
It's kind of sad to see New Mexico almost lay down for the federal government when it comes to this issue. Because they're not just stealing from the companies; they're stealing from like all the employees that get paid through that product. Like the state is being stolen from itself.
Yeah.
You know, the tax revenue that funds the projects and programs in the state. It's like the federal government is just coming in and slapping us.
Yeah.
And I've heard testimonies from business owners in California because with Frost Factory and Dark Matter, we had a very large shipment stolen by the federal government when this was first starting up. Because it was, months and months of them not really doing anything about it. And then it was kind of like a switch flip. And then they were hunting us.
Yeah.
And we had to get crafty. We had to figure out, like, how are we going to get this up there? And this affects, Las Cruces and down. This is us. As much as we say New Mexico, this is like our problem in the south.
Yeah.
That we really have to deal with it, The people in Albuquerque don't deal with it because they get to drive right through and then they have an empty van when they drive back up. And the level of care that I've noticed from, New Mexico on these topics just seems so low for what I would call crime, for the crime that's being committed against, the people that look forward to that, our medical patients that look forward to the flower coming from our area that I think we should all be proud of. We, down here in the South, have grown quality cannabis.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of ranting now because this one just boils my
No, I mean, it's a huge topic for all of us here in the South. I was born and raised in Alamogordo originally, and yeah, I've dealt with those damn things my whole life, and yeah, like Nicole said, it's not just a cannabis issue, it's a race issue, it's a color issue, it's one of those things that it checks many boxes, not just one, and now you just add cannabis on there and you just pissed it and even more people off. So yeah, something needs to happen. It's just, we're gonna have to figure something out, or really push the federal government because they haven't done shit, on it. It doesn't matter what administration it is, nothing's really moved on that sense, especially for us. Maybe they forget we're a state. Yeah.
What about like people like me who don't cross time? Or maybe because I take people on a little cannabis consumption tours like to a dozen. So I'm not from Texas, so it's paranoid either way, but what about people, are we able to cross?
So it's, go ahead.
Technically, we're not allowed to, and that's an instance that people that have had their product seized from the checkpoints have come across. The fact that they have stopped their vehicles and taken the product that was listed on the manifest. And then they find their personal stash, and they say, you can keep that, we're just going to keep this. Well, it's all cannabis. So I think technically we're not allowed to do that, but they're definitely allowing with personal stashes to go through. They just want the big money over here. Not the one vendor.
You're going to get the assholes that will hold you for hours.
Yeah.
Search your car, tear your car apart. But then you're going to get the people that see it and don't care. Back in the medical days, if they found something, they would hold you, call the local sheriffs. The local sheriff would come out, verify that you were a medical patient, and then they would let you go with your medicine. Now it's a cat and mouse game to them.
Yeah.
You just it's who you run into. Ultimately, they can take it from you, and I guess it's not enough to do paperwork. They could arrest you for it because it is federally illegal.
Yeah.
But they're not going to go through that much trouble, but they will confiscate it the right way.
And on a lighter note, even the Border Patrol agents, they don't want the small amount because they actually get made fun of when they get like a small amount because it's like 8 hours worth of paperwork for like any amount of cannabis. So that might make sense why they're letting you keep the personal, because they'll probably get made fun of by everybody. It's like, oh, look at this guy busting 2 grams.
But even then, where is the paperwork?
Yeah, exactly.
There has been instances where people don't have to fill out any paperwork.
Yeah.
They just are detained and questioned, and that's it. No proof of you being there. And they arrested and detained in different manners. So I think they also need to get straight, like, what is it that we're doing? But I don't even believe they really know, like, an exact protocol on this. And at that point, it's scary, because it's, like how you said, or how everybody here said, depends on who you get.
Yeah. Yeah, some are caring, some are just want to be there for a job.
And there's also been instances of the checkpoint, of, like, people passing through the checkpoint, and then a border patrol vehicle will still go and follow them, and then take them up down the road. So, like, you thought you were safe, and then you're not. So, yeah, it's definitely so scary going through there. Oh my gosh. I even thought maybe the one going through Radiant Springs would be safer, but that one's actually, like, getting more strict, so, yeah.
Why is other states not having the same trouble if Arizona has a checkpoint and California has a checkpoint? Like, why are we having the same, like, only us?
I believe it's like a marginalization issue.
We're also the only borderplex in the nation, too. That might be another reason why, is because of just where we are. You have 2 states in a country right here, and that probably creates a little weird thing. Because I've been talked to, the border agents before, and they seem to see this place as something different than anything else. So I think that might be why. I don't know. I could be wrong.
It could be the amount of businesses that are below that line in those states. In Arizona especially, there may not be very many producers or manufacturers under that line.
Yeah.
They may all be more north of it. California, I would assume they would have had that kind of issue too. They're coming off of Tijuana and stuff like that, so they may have some side of the issue, but I can see Arizona not having that issue because nobody's really that far down.
Yeah, that's true. When I was stationed at Sierra Vista for AIT over there, they were there all over the place, but we were right next to the border. But Phoenix and Tucson, they weren't even touched, I don't remember if I saw a border check, past Sierra Vista, to be honest. Anyone else?
Sorry, I just want to add one more thing. I know that here in New Mexico, it's supposed to be that within the 100-mile radius, there has to be a checkpoint. Maybe New Mexico is a state that does that, compared to like California and Arizona, maybe they don't have that. I'm not sure, but maybe that's a reason.
It's the whole
border. The whole border?
Yeah, that's a federal thing.
Why are they coming after us?
I know, right? Yeah.
It's not at the actual border.
Yeah, because I've never been here in Cruces or in the area, we can't go any direction without hitting a border check. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, even in Alamogordo, there's only 2. Here, it's everywhere you go. So yeah, that's something that I've never really experienced anywhere else either. And I've wondered, if Michigan deals with that, if maybe Washington deals with that, like the states bordering Canada, but no, they
We don't
yeah.
have border checkpoints up north.
Yeah, see that.
The only one is directly on the roads that go into Canada. There's nothing.
Cameras everywhere, monitoring.
Yeah, we have a lot of things before us too.
Yeah. Yeah, we all seen kid cannabis.
And it's not like you're stopping your car or anything.
Yeah.
That never happens.
Interesting. Yeah. Who knows? But for now, we just have to deal with what we got and just keep fighting. Force our government to get some solution. Figure something out. We're paying you guys. So, yeah. Anyone else? I know the border check is a huge hot issue, and I could talk about that all day. Does anybody else have anything else on it?
Why it has to be different in Las Cruces that is 24/7 and Sunland Park you're able to just open to 12. And just because it's near to Texas, it doesn't make sense.
Well,
That's a city ordinance.
Yeah, it's city ordinance, so it's per city. And they can determine whether or not it can be the 24 hours. And coming from a dispensary that's in Sunland Park, where it's so hard to get the city to get back to you on that.
Yeah, but as a consumer, it's kind of confusing, where is it 24/7 and where it's not.
No, that's true. Yeah, Cruces, we convinced them, and to be honest, there's been no issues with 24/7. Didn't you say at one point some people thanked the 124 for being there because crime went down in the area or something like that?
Yeah, it used to be a seedy location, and And then after that, we came in, so of course people were starting to turn to other, to cannabis rather than the other things that they were looking for originally. So it does help, and is Las Cruces the only place that is allowed 24/7?
Albuquerque don't
remember
either.
with like remember the whole Ontario and the other county?
Yeah, so we had got Otero changed once, but when we went to that and got them to change it, they met with the Chaparral community like a month later, and then the Chaparral community didn't want it,
Otero.
so they went and changed it back, and that's why they shut us down when we went 24 hours.
But at some point it was like across the street you could operate 24/7, and then like over here.
Yeah, because it was Doña Ana and Otero.
So stupid.
Doña Ana you couldn't, Otero you could.
Yeah, and that's been my gripe too. Is forgive me if I'm wrong for saying this, but I kind of feel we've allowed the cities and local governments a lot more power than they really should have on this, on certain things. Like it's a little ridiculous that I have to think, okay, who has 24-hour shops? Oh, only Cruces. Who has drive-throughs? Oh, only this place. Things like that. It causes confusion. Yeah, it causes a lot of confusion, especially for law enforcement. And that was one of law enforcement's big gripes. It says, we don't want the cities to be able to ban cannabis sales because that creates a hell of confusion when it comes to enforcement. So now you have sales in this county, but not sales in this county. But we kind of did the same thing by allowing the cities to, do the 24 hours or not, do the drive-throughs or not, the whole up to 300 feet between each other, thing. I get the schools and the church thing, but between each other is a little ridiculous because, you go downtown Las Cruces and there's bars right next to each other. There's fences this high, people are drinking and smoking that I can see, so like it needs to be a little more level.
I know in Roswell, I think the hours are from like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and that's like it.
That's ridiculous.
What?
10 a.m. to 7 p.m.?
In Roswell?
Roswell?
Travis County?
There's a certain company there that really has a stronghold of the city there, and I'm sure you can guess who. But yeah, Roswell's been a weird one, to operate there. I've heard a lot of horror stories of trying to open there.
That's crazy. 10 a.m.
Yeah.
They had some crazy ass stuff too going on when it first switched. Where that company was trying to keep everybody out pretty much. They almost succeeded.
They did. They almost. I'm surprised the city didn't get sued, because that was shit. So, more cons?
Yes.
New topic of cons, maybe?
I can give a couple more examples from the last one that we went to. People were saying that there was a lack of education as far as like, for example, both cannabis and like how to maneuver or even have access to the RLD website. A lot of people didn't even know that they had access to that.
That's true. Yeah. Another one I was thinking off the top of my head, I forgot it right now, but it'll come back. But those are good points there too. Anybody want to?
So on that education part, or was somebody speaking on it, trying to make it to where the state would mandate education, or just as an industry in whole?
Like not having the information, not even knowing that. Like even outside of cannabis, like if they're not in the industry, they didn't know as like maybe like a consumer that they could go and look at numbers. They didn't know that that was public access.
A lot of people don't know what a COA is, or how to read it, or how to understand the information.
Yeah.
And for a long time, they didn't even have to indicate that they use pesticides when they're growing cannabis, and we shouldn't be consuming pesticides.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's a big one. I know Val, if she's here, she'd be going in on that one, is the testing for cannabis. Especially like in our area, and like the amount of stuff that is on, like leftover radiation from like past bombings is a real thing. And then the pesticides, it's a big crop state, so there's a lot of pesticides, especially like tomatoes and things like that, to the point where they will leave letters on the door, make sure to bring your dog inside and flip their bowl because we're going to be spraying. And then that's going to get on our soil, and then cannabis that absorbs all the impurities around it will be getting all that. And then that's what we're smoking, that's what we're giving our patients. So definitely that would be talking about that and having better standardization of testing. And the topic of a state-owned lab has even come into the conversation because people are starting to doubt the private-owned labs, that people feel like the results could be skewed and paid for and things like that. And Carver Family Farms brought up a great point at our online sesh that in some COAs, if you were to take a look at them, secondary terps are coming out higher than primary terps. So that should be raising some questions, definitely.
I feel like it's like every month we hear about another like testing company that, oh, they found out that they were, letting them pay to have a higher THC percentage. And then, you go to dispensaries and you'll see them have like really high 30s for THC percentage. Like you're telling me almost 40% of that weight is all trichomes are just THC, not even anything else.
Yeah.
If
Like,
they're not required to label the CBD amount, why would they test for it? So the plant could have CBD.
oh, so you're saying they're just like,
Sorry, thank you.
they're cutting that and splitting it into like the THC percentage and only doing percentage off of plant
If
weight.
they're not required to test for CBD, why would they include it on the COA?
The THC would still have the same percentage of weight based on plant because they're
Biologically, the THC gets to your cells through your CB receptors. So if there's no CBD in the plant, you're not going to get an effect. So if you're getting an effect, it has to have CBD. If they're not required to test for CBD, they're not going to label it, they're not going to disclose it.
So would the con be like that you would like to see CBD be tested in products?
I can't remember.
Would your con be that you would like to see CBD tested in products?
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are looking for something with a high CBD content, and they can't find it because they're only labeling THC percentage.
Mm-hmm.
They're not labeling CBD percentage because the government tried to outlaw CBD.
There's COAs, you have the CBD, and so I am getting that testing from the area and the spectrum, and those percentages are listed on it.
Do you get different results from different testing centers?
We don't run too many side by side, that's just the cost.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
And also that brings the conversation kind of back to the checkpoints that people are scared to go and have to. Now, are they still operating here?
What?
Nice. Okay, so now we have, but before we didn't have a testing.
That was a huge hindrance for us with the
Mm-hmm. So it's hard to even want to get like results from different places when you couldn't even get it up to one. And on that too, why is it that we get to choose what we take to them rather than they come in?
Now the moth isn't where I'm running. We were using the moth as a transportation service, but I'm not sure if there is a transportation service currently.
No. But they don't take products back up.
So, but from here, if I need testing up north, I can't send product that way.
Product?
It is.
But I will say that that has been a topic of conversation in every city that we've gone in, along with Border Patrol checkpoints, BioTrack. Another one was just to add, because I heard you say it, the costs of testing. How does everybody feel about that?
That's nationwide. That's an issue nationwide, cost of testing.
But if for New Mexico, like, what would you say that you have a type of thing that you would like to suggest for us to write down in the
I have no answers.
Mm-hmm.
Those machines are expensive to begin with, and then to run them and operate them. I mean, you've got to be able to calibrate it with the fluid and all kinds of stuff. So I mean, I don't know how much it is, but I mean, you can't break even, and you got to be able to profit some. So
Yeah, and the state actually has a testing facility itself, like a state sanctioned ran test facility. Everything's pretty much brand new still, but they don't use it. Yeah, I guess I should use mine. They don't use it, and that's something that maybe we could look at too, because if we have like a state one, they could just put the cost of that into the fees or pull it from the general fund for the taxes. So I think there is a way that we could do this, and maybe if we push the legislature that, hey, what if we take some of the general fund that's just chilling there from the cannabis industry and we use it for testing? That way we can get some standardization going, because holy shit, there is no standardization whatsoever. And there needs to be. And this is an industry national thing wide. It's not just New Mexico. This is something that we deal with everywhere. And this is something that has to change in the future, because testing is like our first line of defense, and first and only, really. And some people are starting to third-party test after they get the COAs and everything. They'll test the products, which is great. I love that. But it's expensive. How much is it? Like $180 a pop or something like that? Something ridiculous. Yeah, $200 for a full panel. That's a little ridiculous. But if some way we can curb that cost, because $280, we all know that's a thing, and everyone's paying it. So if we can curb the cost anywhere, I think that will be a benefit for the industry and the consumer in the end, because whenever you guys pay more, the consumer pays more, in the end. So if we can kind of curb that, it helps everybody. I don't know if you guys have any.
And for research and design, or kind of getting, more accuracy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like R&D is really helpful to be able to do additional testing. We do some, but it would help to be able to do more.
Yeah. That would be great.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but Will Barnacle says
Oh.
hi.
Hey, Will.
He also says that we need to get that ring test put together. Same product tested at a series of labs. The state lab would be the control results.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. I like that. Were you gonna say anything? Yeah, I like that because, and another thing I was going to mention, I don't know if you're going to mention this or not. Another thing that needs to happen is the sample collection. A lot of it's being cherry picked. I think you were mentioning that earlier. Yeah, a lot of them are being cherry picked. And what I mean by that is they're going in there and they're saying, okay, we're going to pick this top bud up here. She's been pretty the whole time. We're going to use her. We're not going to grab any lower nodes. We're not going to grab any from that corner over there. They may have some issues. We're not going to just randomly grab them. The way that it works in hemp is they have the inspector come, they come to your farm, they take the samples, they put it in an evidence bag, and then you send it to the testing facility. I kind of feel that's a better model that we could probably use here in New Mexico, so we can get better testing results, because it's really wonky. And that's a nationwide, industry-wide thing. It's not just us. Everyone's cherry picking. And I think even here in New Mexico, you can mediate some of the issues too before you send it off, right? I think that's something that can happen. I know during medical, they were sending it microwave stuff and ozone stuff and sending it off to be tested, and so that we can have a clean product. But yeah, testing is something that we definitely need to hammer, and it's definitely a con. Pesticide penalties. Ooh.
That was one I wanted to bring up, just because I feel like I won't talk about it. Sorry. I wanted to bring up pesticide penalties just because that got brought up, and I wanted to see what everyone's opinion would be on that and what you guys think about it.
Well, she means if you get caught, like.
Yeah, and that too.
Yeah, like if you get caught using, or there should be a penalty. And then another thing that keeps getting brought up too that I wanted to bring up before I forget is how are we going to tackle people not getting paid? That's like a huge problem with us here. Some people brought up pretty much a bad kid list, where this person doesn't pay their bills, but then that opens it up to lawsuits. What are some ideas that y'all could think to really, I wouldn't say oust people, but just make sure people get paid? Is it you can't renew your license? Is it you get blasted? Is it you get taxed more? Is it what are some ideas that y'all can think of?
Could you remind me what's the period for renewing your license? Is it 4 years?
A year.
A year?
Yeah, a year. Yeah, every year.
So if we want to treat this like any other business, be an industry, be a business industry, stuff like that's got to be settled in the state courts.
I agree.
Of course, there's going to be those people that go out, we're in the age of social media, and blast the company for doing what they do. But it should be like if you worked at McDonald's and McDonald's doesn't pay you, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the workforce, the labor board. That's what's got to happen here.
Yeah.
There should not be anything done by CCD. There should not be anything done. I mean, it's not a law enforcement issue until the labor board reviews it. It's got to be handled just like every other business.
Yeah, and, that's how I've seen it too, and it's just been an issue that's been popped up pretty much a lot of places I've gone, especially lately the conversations I've been having with people. That's been something that kind of pops up every now and then. I kind of just wanted to figure, what ideas do y'all got? Because that is an issue. Like, I keep hearing it like every week. Someone's talking about so-and-so didn't pay me. I didn't get paid here. Even I've done it from the radio station. It's happened to us. You know, Cinder left us hanging when they left. You know, they got a free month of advertisements they weren't even here for. So it's happened to everybody. And yeah, I agree. You know, that the best way to do it is the courts. But at the same time, we have to think, you know, what about the small businesses that don't have money too? You know, like, so it goes on to that. And it's an unfortunate thing. That's the belly of the beast when it comes to business. You know, there's going to be those costs, and you know, you kind of have to be ready to sue people when it comes to this, and it kind of sucks. Yeah.
I mean, just like if any other business in the business, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. My grandpa told me when I was younger that they used to sue the shit out of each other, you know, when it came to business back in the day. So I guess it's just a normal thing.
Any other cons, guys? No?
Nothing's pissing y'all off?
Anything with CCD? Do you guys have any issues there by chance?
I mean, Sunland Park's a small area. It's pretty crammed. You know, is everything, you know, neighbor-wise?
3-month delay with CCD, having licenses, having issues and cases, like, they still short out staff, you know, cases still not open yet. So
Yeah, it's a good one.
with all the funding that's coming to now through cannabis, is there going to be any investment into that part, you know, to grow staff? I know the opening what we should do, right? Or task forces?
I think so. I think Crucis has.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, has anybody heard of these CCD?
I believe that they want to add, how was it, 10 employees?
Yes.
But
10.
to act as police, like to police the campus. But then when this was brought up to the senators a couple weeks ago when this bill was presented, they were asking like, well, where would we keep the cannabis? And things like that. So it was just like they were, yes, so then they said like, well, what if we don't have enough staff for out in our police department and then you're going to want to go and take them from us? And so then this is how that, like the task force that they want was created, but then the whole thing is that they're going to be paid how?
Like 6 figures. Yeah, it was a 6-figure job.
For 10?
Yeah, just for 10 of them. But that was the budget that we were told. We didn't know the breakdown or anything like that. But yeah, it was going to be about 6 figures they're going to be getting as those officers, essentially. And the fear is, you know, we don't want the cannabis police. You know, we don't want them kicking doors down. We don't want them showing up with riot shields. We just want some damn enforcement. You know, we just want the people that are doing the bad, wrong things, making everybody look bad, to be out of the industry. We don't want to be a war. You know, we signed up for this to do the right thing, but the ones who refuse to do it should be taken out too. But we just don't want to be all treated like we're bad people. You know, we're all just doing business here. You know, and the ones that aren't doing it right need to be taken out. So, yeah, that's my fear, is that we're going to get the cannabis police. They were saying that we already have stuff in place similar for like alcohol and tobacco and stuff. But my thing is, why don't we just have those same guys do cannabis too? You know, like, why are we recreating another whole unit for it? You know, why don't we just expand that one and just have them do cannabis? You know, that makes more sense to me, but there's probably a government answer somewhere for that.
Right now in Dallas, ATS walking around with guns in Dallas.
Yeah.
At cannabis events.
Oh, no shit. Holy crap. It happens. I do that too. Tracy?
I was just going to add to this before we cut things short here. The reason we do a lot of this is just because we're trying to change laws and better our community. A lot of what we're doing law-wise is more like alcohol laws. They've combined it, and as you all know, like, cannabis is its own entity. And it's up to us to pave the way. We're 2 years in, recreational, all eyes are on us right now. It's up to us to do it. So if you guys have ideas, if you guys, again, pros, cons, anything that you can think of to throw that way, it's up to us to share this information with our legislative. This is why we give a safe space. I know sometimes we don't agree with a lot of things, but we want neutral ground, right? And that's why we have these. So I really want to thank everybody coming out to speak your voice. It's up to us, guys. That's all I can really say. And I'm really missing Val and Karina, because they always have something to say, so they may be watching us right now, so hi guys, hope you guys are online, we love you. Were there any more cons, any more pros that maybe we want to add to that? Events, absolutely. Pass that over. What about events?
So, definitely regulations and, setting some sort of structure to be able to host events, right? Like, yes, we do need a cannabis consumption license, but like, it's a big state with large pieces of land. You know, I feel like if it's, yes, definitely private properties, like, there is a whole business and entertainment industry of money that can be streaming through the state.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a hush-hush thing when you go to an event, right? You know, we have to go to specific locations to be able to consume, or you take your apples or whatever, but I feel like there should be some light onto that as well. And if people do have consumption lounges, like, do you need a big old license, and how much would something like that be for an acre to be able to host a location where you can have that many people consuming, right? Like, these regulations, or some light on the entertainment industry of cannabis definitely is where I see that people should speak up on that.
Like an event license?
An event license.
I think they're working on one they're calling a picnic license. Yeah, and that's one of the first places that's doing it.
It just depends on what city and what regulations the county you're working with. But you're eligible for, I think, up to 3 or 4 depending on the year before it. And they're able to do picnic license where they can sell and consume cannabis at a level private, 21 over, advertising. You have to have all those parameters met to then be eligible for the picnic licenses. That's most California, where you have like a agriculture events at like all these big convention centers at the city of Falls. So these events are moving towards that light, but also coming to some organization of that, making this a lifestyle, making it visual for everyone to understand that this is part of the community. We see brand ads for alcohol, we see brand ads for tobacco, we see all these things. It's the same thing with me. I put the radio room and trying to get you guys to be part of that industry. Why would we go to that brand? Why would we go to that? Because it's part of our lifestyle. And that's where the shift, I believe, is needed to make it into the forefront of our legislators, where it's like, well, this is part of life. It's not just like we talked about going into buy a product and then go back home and smoke it, or consume it, or anywhere you want to. You're able to do it in the same well as the guy who's buying a vape they pay for the shop, or buying a 6-pack and drinking on the curb. It's the same concept of making it part of what it is in your life to make it work for a while for everyone to understand that.
Chad is firsthand knows verbiage is very important.
Very important. Oh yeah, do you want me to tell that story?
Yeah, go for
Oh god,
it.
that's painful. All right. Just to remind you guys, when you do talk to legislators, you want to be very, 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 very specific, and you want to make sure you cover all grounds. When we were medical, I kind of screwed the industry over for about a year because I convinced them to go from all-around plant count to the immature, mature plant count that we have today. I finally convinced them. I was like, look, you only really care about flower plants. They're like, yeah. And I was like, so why are we counting the immature plants? They're like, that's a good point. And so I told them, give us more variety, give the producers a chance to get more plants going, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, they did the change. I said, cool. Well, what I didn't do was tell them what a mature plant is and what the definition of that is. So they came up with their own, and it was 12 inches for a year. And so I screwed the whole industry over for about a year. So yeah, a mature plant was 12 inches, and yeah, I take that one on the nose every time I tell the story. That one hurts. But yeah, don't be like me and not tell your legislators everything. So even if you think, oh, he should know that, no, he doesn't. Even if he tells you he did, no, he doesn't. Tell him again. It's okay. And they understand that they don't know this industry as well as we do. And they actually tell me all the time, please tell more people to show up. Please tell them, come here, tell us what you want, because we don't know how to regulate this like you guys do. And we want to do it right. So just keep that in mind, and they do want to talk to you. So don't be afraid to talk to your legislator.
Definitely, and speaking of showing up, I think it's amazing that you guys showed up today. We're reaching our 10-minute mark, but I would like to remind everybody that since it is being held, this town hall is being held at a government building, the city did ask us to go ahead and share our data that we have collected with them, so that the city of Sunland Park can go ahead and take into consideration what it is that we're saying. So for these last 10 minutes, if there's anything, any frustrations that you guys would like to voice, that you would like to maybe see be better here in the city, please go ahead. But like it relates to cannabis, but it could be that the funding should be going into the better water, right? We have so much money, especially in Sunland, so much money is coming in here for cannabis. Where is it going? Is it going into our future generations? Are we bettering our roads? Are we getting safe water to drink? Because these are all still issues that we're facing to this day. But we're going into the second physical year for cannabis. So, clean water.
So if you live here in Sunland Park, I was on, I implore you to get involved with your city reps, especially for something like that, because I was on the news with the mayor and the chief of police of Sunland Park almost a year ago, and the mayor, the news host that was asking the questions asked the mayor what they're doing with that tax money. And at that point, they weren't doing, the only thing they were looking into was hiring more police officers. They were waiting to see what kind of revenue, I mean, if it was a year ago, you know, the industry had almost been 2 years old. So they were trying to see, or about a year and a half old, they were trying to see what kind of revenue was coming in to see what they were going to do with it. They didn't have any decisive plan on it. It wasn't allocated to anywhere. And this can actually be looked at on kvia.com. So I implore you to get with your representatives and start telling them where you want to see that money, because they're there to work for you. You know, they represent you. And if you're not telling them where to allocate it, then they're going to allocate it where they want to. So if you live out here in Sunland Park, I know the water's a big issue out here. You know, it's on the news all the time. There's fighting back and forth. Tell them where you want them to allocate.
Preach. I have a comment from Austin here. He works for Podgy. He says, just better the industry standards going from retail, manufacturing, cultivation, and overall relationships. Set the bar, Sunland Park. We appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Writing it down.
Thank you for your input, Austin.
Awesome. Cool. Anything else? Maybe you guys want 24-hour sales, something? You know, anything?
That would be huge, because I think there's a lot of, people that work at night, or
Yeah.
like in the hospital, and they get off at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning, and EMTs, or you have people that work in factories and stuff overnight, and I think that that's really huge for them to have access.
Yeah.
Or they might be or people that work all day.
Yeah.
As well as nice to be able to offer people 24-hour access.
Yeah. And then, as Sunland Park starts to move into the direction of having more of a nightlife and, a bigger population, it'd probably benefit them in the long run, because it's going to be like one of the areas to go party in the area,
Consumption lounges and events, I know coming from Colorado, they have like different clubs, they have event venues, and it's a huge business that brings a lot of money to the community, and it also creates a space for it to exist.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
A lot of people like to have like a wedding that cannabis ceremony, they like to have an event, have events and that pairing dinners and stuff like that. Like you add to the really like the overall experience by allowing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you're doing a pairing thing tomorrow.
It would be nice to have like a community center, like something like a USO, like USO,
Yeah.
something like that, where people can just kind of get together, kind of like a event. That would be awesome if the city could do something like that. There's this whole building here.
Yeah.
Have a room where people can just come and hang out and socialize, and there's people who might not want to get out of the house and like just don't have anxiety. That is something to try.
So what is USO stand for?
USO is like this. If you were paramilitary or anything, you can kind of go and they have like, I went there during Thanksgiving when I was at Fort Campbell, and you can do like puzzles, and they have games, and just random veterans get together and hang out, and they have like snacks and things provided for them. So like a recreational center.
Almost. You'll find them at like airports a lot of the time too. Yeah, I try to go if I have a long layover.
And it can be like a medical cannabis one where they come
Yeah.
in for ID when they get there, they're not here with the cannabis.
Well, and then how do you handle educational events? Do you have to have a license to have samples from different farms? Like, how does that work?
Depends on the event, it depends on the location's on the event. So if it's a city hall event that's federally funded, we most likely not going to have anything of that sort at this event.
And then how are you going to educate people if you can't get the materials there?
So that comes to the law of the understanding conference and education seminars and also Q&A, you have to testing foundation. That's really getting that in here, differential eventually. And it's going to really sell the product that we talk about. This is saying what you're scaling for, this is what your mission statement is. And that's the thing. And how you're going to material that industry. Education pieces versus an event piece versus like a camel farmer that is like trying to then judge that's rosin versus now what is rosin, what is this and what is that. So there's that.
Oh, he's done. Never mind.
I did want to touch on one thing, since we're talking about 24 hours here in Sunland Park. Myself, Nicole, Chad, and Tracy were no strangers to trying to get 24 hours here in Sunland Park. We fought out a long time. Ultimately, we were denied, but I mean, with the momentum there is now, and if there's more of us to go and speak up about it, you know, we can get it. We can show them that more people are involved. Because at that time, it was just a handful of us. You know, we made a lot of advancement, but we fell short on that one. And it's going to take people from this community to get involved. Which brings me to another point. For all of us that work out here in Sunland Park, whether you're at a dispensary, you own a dispensary or whatnot, we've got to realize that 90% of our clients, of our patients, come from Texas. Those people face prosecution the second they cross the line. There needs to be people out here that are doing more to change, not legalizing Texas, but to change the way Texas views it to decriminalize, because we're hurting people by selling them cannabis and letting them go home. I mean, they're adults. They didn't choose to do what they do. I've driven around for many years illegal like that. And we make our own choices. But it does no good for us to make money off of people that are going to turn around, go get pulled over, and go to jail. So I implore you guys, if you're part of this community, whether it's you live here or you work here, or you work for a business, have them get involved with organizations in Texas that are fighting day and night to decriminalize, to keep people out of jail. Because we're just setting people up. And that's no good. Because, especially El Paso, you know, there's places, San Marcos, Austin, Dallas just de facto decriminalized, but El Paso currently still arrests people at an alarming rate. And that's where all the business out there comes from. So we need to do what we can to help those people to stop going to jail.
Yes, and if you guys didn't know, Colt is the director of El Paso Normal. Thank you so much for sharing that. And do you have any upcoming, like, will you be going out to Austin for this session?
Yeah, so we'll be having a lobby day. I'm also part of Texas Cannabis Collective. I sit on that board as well. We'll be scheduling a lobby day February or March. So you have people go up and meet with all the representatives just like we did last year. So there'll be that. And then also we just got a new city council. Not a whole new city council, but a lot of new city council members. So El Paso Normal will be attacking the ward there, trying to get that de facto decriminalization that other jurisdictions in Texas has passed. So yeah, I mean, people are working to get it done. It's just, I mean, it's Texas. I'm not one to say that they're going to be the last state to change, like a lot of people do, but it's going to take the people that live there or, to live there to get stuff changed. And it's gonna take all of us.
Changing to you guys illegal. Because I just finished community service, because I also got over that. It was so inconsistent, like the whole process. Like they didn't even look at me while I'm doing what I was doing. Like I could have lied to them, but like, hey, I finished my community service. They didn't even care. Honestly, after we did everything like that. So realistically, what can we do since it's such a big, it's like it's only a city, like can we really El Paso make such a big change? Such a big, like, it's just Texas, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In 2000, so prior to 2019, they were still, if you get caught with a joint, they were arresting people. In 2019, we got cite and release passed, which was just a little bit easier, where it gave the officer discretion to either take you to jail or not. So now El Paso has the ability to not take you to jail. So we at least stopped that first part. It's still a criminal offense. You still end up in court, but you don't have to pay bail. You don't go to jail. And if you can get an attorney, a lot of times they can either get you time served, get it dismissed, stuff like that. So we're kind of beating the curve there. But getting involved with your local representatives, more so with your state representatives, your Texas House members. We have 5 in El Paso that represent the whole city, or the state senator, Cesar Blanco. We only have 1 for El Paso. Getting involved with them is where we're going to make that change. In 2000, so El Paso Normal kicked off in 2014. When we kicked off, one thing that I preached at the first meeting that we had, where we had 230 people, was we've got to get involved with our representatives, because that's how we're going to change it. El Paso doesn't have, Texas doesn't have ballot initiative. We'll never change the laws by voting on it unless it goes through a harder process than it is just getting a bill passed.
What do you mean by getting involved? Like, what's the, going over there and talking to them, and here's what I think, will be like...
Yeah, tell them this is what I support. I'm in El Paso, I'm your constituent. Are you a registered voter?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so, and even more so when you're a registered voter, because you have the power to take them out, you know what I mean? They'll listen to you a lot better. And tell them that this is something that's important to you and something that you want to work with. You want them to work towards. So in 2014, like I was saying, I was telling people, get involved with your representatives, tell them what you need. And because I started preaching that, I went and did it. And I sat down with my state representative, Joe Moody. And I told him, my whole fight has always been to keep people out of jail and for patient safe access. I come from people I've lost a lot of people to cancer. I lost my wife in 2016 to cancer. While she was suffering and in her 80 phase, she was arrested for a joint. Sat in jail for 16 hours. And this was, it's a long story. Sat in jail for 16 hours. And when they had an option to just cite and release her, because there was something that was passed a long time ago in the state. So I sat down with my representative and told him, look, this is what I want. This is what I think. At the time, Washington, D.C. was going through a decriminalization phase where if anybody caught with an ounce of weed would pay a $100 civil penalty. They wouldn't go on the record. You wouldn't go to jail. And I took him that same bill. And I told him, look, if it's good enough for our nation's capital, it's good enough for Texas. And he walked out of that meeting, called his staff and told them, give me a good reason why I should not file this bill. And ever since that meeting with him, that bill has been filed every legislative session since. So it was because I sat down with my representative and had a heart-to-heart talk with him that bill came along. So if we're all doing that with our representatives, they'll see how important it is to us to get that kind of stuff changed. And we need it because there's so many people coming here to Sunland Park and going back home and getting pulled over right as they cross. And it's...
Is there any way that you can share how to approach to the cops too, because there's like a lot of loopholes that you can get away with it, like with the type. I don't know if you want to share that kind of story, but he was able to like. They told him like, oh, are you a doctor because you know about cannabis? Like that's crazy. That a cop is telling you that, and they were not able to do a lot because he said that it was still tight. So like he was scared because he didn't know like it was the right thing to say. So is there any way that you can share how to approach?
I feel like I kind of like put myself into a situation because they're like, oh, like, are you like, do you have anything on you? I'm like, well, I don't want to, because it's to the point like if you treat them wrong, they're gonna treat you wrong, and they'll be like, okay, they're gonna get arrested. I have my pen, so that's what already a felony, right? So I was like, I don't know what to do, but like I kind of like told them what I had, but I didn't know what I was doing was right or was wrong. So I just like, well, this is what I have, and they check on my car, and they did all these things, and then I went through all that trouble for community service, and I didn't realize, like, they didn't even look at me, if that makes sense. It's just like, then why do you pull me over? You don't even care if I finish the community service or not, you know? So,
you become a number when you get into the system.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not an attorney, and this is not legal advice. Don't talk to cops.
I mean, you can nicely be like, I'm sorry, I want my lawyer person, thank you.
You call Jesse
Exactly,
Underwood.
and you may still get arrested, but if you're respectful to them and don't give them any information, then they can't do anything. They can't search your car without permission. If they say they smell marijuana, which is a big issue, then it gives them probable cause. But if you give them any reason other than the smell of marijuana to search your car, you're in trouble. Just don't talk to them.
Yeah, they told me I didn't pull, they basically told me I didn't pull consent. I didn't pull right when they told me, like, that's enough reason for me to check your car.
No.
So they checked my
No,
car.
that's bullshit.
That's what they did. They pulled me over my car and just started, you know.
It's when people don't know their rights that they'll take advantage of that. So don't talk to cops. There was something else I wanted to say. Oh, if you live in Texas, something else that may help you, and it's not a guarantee. Get into the Texas medical program if you're able to. The easiest condition right now is PTSD. I mean, not that it's easy, but I mean, you're not suffer, but it's not
cancer, it's not epilepsy.
it's the easiest to get in under because a lot of people suffer from PTSD for many reasons. You know, accidents. We have our veterans. You know, you could have watched, a loved one die of cancer. PTSD is a wide range of things. That's why it's the easiest. And that kind of gives you a little level ground, but again, smokable forms of cannabis are still legal under that program. It's only good for topicals, gummies, and edibles, topicals, and tinctures. Of course, it has to be state issued, but it may give you some kind of leveraging against cops if you're pulled over and show, hey, look, I'm a legit medical patient. Because once you get into Texas, you can get into the New Mexico reciprocal program. You can show the cop. If it comes to that point, then don't talk to cops. And if it comes to that point, you can show them, look, I'm a patient in Texas, I'm a patient in New Mexico, and, that may give you a fighting chance.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your guys' input. We kind of went a little bit over 10 minutes, but just to wrap up, what was it that I was supposed to remember? I already blanked on that one. Oh, I remember. Thank you for staring into my eyes and bringing that into me. Something that I wanted to touch base on that we forgot to touch base on was the fact that people were bringing up that they should get inspected before they get their licenses. There's companies out here that are getting their licenses before even getting inspected. It's super unfair for the companies that have done it 1,000% correct. Have spent tons of money, time, effort, and they still have to wait or they don't get inspected. Yes.
How many licenses were issued when New Mexico went legal?
Like right away? Well, there's no limit on them, so it just kind of kept going up and up. But about the first, 1,000 or something, I think was like the first month, and I think at our peak, Because now we're down just a little bit more, it's like a 688, but over 1,000 something, because 688 are what is operating. A lot of people are sitting on their licenses right now, thinking that the license is going to close, and then their license is going to be very valuable, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of those people in the state because that's what they did with the liquor license in New Mexico. So they think it's going to happen again. But yeah, they probably went about 1,000 something when it first opened and just kind of went up. But now we're kind of at this little plateau right now. We're starting to go back down at 650, 680.
Are the licenses transferable?
No, not transferable. I don't believe so. It's tied, yeah, it is, yeah, now I think about it.
If business goes, business technically, it's like it's going to the next.
Yeah, because they're talking about.
Comes out of this where you have to sell a business to get a transfer over this license.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that would. But yeah, anyway, that's that whole thing on the licensing thing. Is there anything else?
Sorry.
Oh, no. I was thinking
I'm curious because I seem to remember when New Mexico first went legal recreationally, that first 420, I went to Albuquerque and they were saying they had issued like 25 consumption lounge licenses, but nobody had opened a consumption lounge.
Yeah.
It was like trying to plan a party on 420 and nobody would allow
Consumption.
smoking.
Yeah.
It was like,
You got people sitting on them like eggs.
yeah.
For licensing in like Sunland Park, is that dealt with by like our city council? Is that our county? Or is that like state run?
The state does the licensing for the cannabis. The city does the business license portion and everything, and the zoning and all that stuff. Of course, the county too, if you're in the county. But yeah, the state is the only one that does the cannabis license, and then the business goes through the city.
I think it'd be beneficial for New Mexico to have, having our counties be able to be the ones that put a block on licenses. Whereas we're not, we're having trouble in Albuquerque where people are dumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into a business that fails ultimately because of the, it's completely drowned out over there. I mean, you go down one strip of a road and there's 4 or 5 dispensaries every single block.
Yeah.
And it's not doing anything but hurting people because they've given out too many licenses too quick. They haven't allowed the economy to stabilize in those areas.
Yeah, and well, I mean, time will tell, I guess, on that sense too. But we'll see. I mean, did you write that down too? Or? No? Okay. We're at the end of this anyway, I guess. Yeah, we got it. You got it? You got it all? Okay. But yeah, that's an interesting one. That's the first time I heard about the county being able to. But you run into the whole thing where they didn't want that because then you're allowed the city, the county to essentially ban sales if they want to, because they can just, then you go into the confusion of, well, law enforcement didn't want this, so why are we doing it? So then it's like, oh, well damn.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of Estes Park in Colorado. It's a dry town because it's right like in a federal, what is it called, the Federal National Park. So they don't allow any dispensaries or anything like that. And I was trying to think like if New Mexico had anything like that in the state national park, but I don't believe so, do they?
I don't know. I don't think so.
What?
It's a federal park that the city is in.
Yeah, so there's a federal park in Estes Park in Colorado, and so we don't allow any dispensaries in that area. So I was just wondering if New Mexico does the same, if there's like a place.
Reservations? That's up to them. Huh?
State parks.
Oh, military bases? Oh, no. Absolutely not. That's a total different law system. So, but anyway, we are reaching 15 minutes over, so I really appreciate everybody showing up. It's been amazing. Thank you so much for your inputs. Of course, and I'll let the ladies close it out.
Yes, thank you so much, you guys, for showing up and making your voice heard. And any changes that come out of this, any positive changes that we see, it's definitely all contributed to the community. So thank you for your team, Colorado community.
Thank you again, guys. And Karina, Val, if you guys are watching, we love you guys. We miss you. We hope you guys feel better. And again, guys, we do this because we want to better our community. It's up to us. We're strong believers in closed mouths don't get fed. And we gotta
just speak to our legislative and paves the way. So thank you so much again. We applaud you guys for being here. We really appreciate your guys' love and support. It takes a village and it's you guys. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
And if you all didn't sign up, there are QR codes on the wall, or there is a sheet over here. And with that, we can keep you updated with any kind of